And that madcap close shot, and then that. It's kind of MTV. It's kind of Hard Day's Night Beatles. So it's kind of I think I'm pretty sure I can get down 5.
Guess I'm scared shitless if you want to know the truth. Stop that.
It's a hemorrhoid cream. It's a hemorrhoid cream.
Your lips will shrink away. You won't be able to kiss her tonight.
Said I tried to kiss her, but I had no lips.
He felt sad until he met a man who had no head.
Okay.
Press your thing on that side. Okay. Is this what it
Press
should
your
say
thing
on
on
that
this
side?
No wonder. He is so special.
How long does it take to get into that?
Special purpose.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long to get in a dress. It's
So
what's underneath it took a while.
Okay, well, how about the whole package?
About 5 minutes.
Oh, okay, so it won't take long to get it back on.
I did something wrong.
See ya at the altar.
Los Vidania, sayonara.
You're supposed to say, yes, honey, I'll be there.
I'm sorry, were you talking to me?
The answer is, I'll be there if I feel like it.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm going to go this way because there's like, I don't have to go through much.
I think it's probably a good idea. Is the hem of the dress dragging? Just kidding. Off she goes.
Hi, Judy and Jim. I hope you have a great marriage. I'm sure you will. I'm really happy for you. Congratulations.
Good luck, guys. Have fun with it. Bye. I've got to take crackers to the meeting.
That's a novel idea, but has to do with cool.
Yeah, I'm just real pleased with the way the whole thing turned out. It's great. It was a nice thing to do. It's a nice, one of Judy's friends had that done for her wedding, and she just thought it was a great idea, and I agreed. It would be something really just nice to have and to treasure from now on.
I agree.
Yeah. So we're like right in on there. Yeah, I think we need to join. We need to go after it.
You're kidding. Let's go in. 3 minutes?
Just by virtual contact kind of a thing.
Genetic.
It's a genetic thing. Okay, sure. So it's more of that madcap, but suddenly it's that gross up again. Ah! She's going to be looking at the replay of this, and you'll be going, he kept doing that to me. I wish he would have stopped. Are you really kind of sorry that you volunteered to do this now?
Jim, do you have any last-minute thoughts?
Only that the whole thing, the nervousness of the last week, I said, oh, you're worried about getting married. No, it's not about getting married. The fact of the matter is, I knew 22 months ago that this was going to happen. I knew, virtually from the time we started dating. I mean, I just knew, And it took me a little while to convince her, but the whole thing was just the event, how big the event's got. Because I hadn't counted on it being this big, and that's what's made me nervous. Because there's so many guests and so many who come from so far, and I want to make sure that they have a good time. That's kind of important. I get that host deal. But no, as far as the actual getting married part, since it's what I've been, I knew 22 months ago we were heading this way. I knew. In fact, exactly 22 months ago, because as far as I'm concerned, we officially started seeing each other June 1st, 1993. 22 months to the day.
Hi, gorgeous.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi.
Hi.
Better yet,
Check out these new buff calves.
ooh,
With
baby.
just a little
Wait a minute,
personal
Cheryl.
training, you too.
Cheryl, wait a minute. Here you go.
Pawns and frogs. Notice the curl. Notice the movement of the curl. The interaction of the curl with the body language.
I'm really sorry that you haven't bailed before now. I wanted to because it's just too late. And I hope that especially tonight, after the party, after the reception. And I'm just glad that you're gonna
Especially
be my
tonight
partner.
after the reception.
And Judy, go ahead one more time.
I'm glad you're gonna be my partner. Buddy.
We are gathered here today to celebrate the marriage of Jim and Judy and to rejoice in their happiness. On this important day, you are surrounded by family and friends, all of whom are gathered to witness your marriage and to share the joy on this occasion. For it is on this day that you shall make the most significant commitment in your life. Who gives this woman her marriage? I do. Jim and Judy, your relationship as husband and wife will be so close and intimate that it will profoundly influence your whole future together. As you stand here today, you cannot foresee how pleasure and pain will be intermingled in your future. But it is a great tribute to your faith in each other that you are willing to face these uncertainties together. Your marriage should join you for the rest of your day and nights in a relationship so deep and caring that it will change your whole being. Marriage is a covenant of faith which requires of both men and women openness of life and thought, freedom from doubt and suspicion, and commitment to speak the truth and love as you grow together as husband and wife. Marriage is a covenant of hope that endures in all things in which both husband and wife commit themselves to interpret each other's behavior with understanding and compassion and never give up trying to communicate with one another. Marriage is a covenant of love in which both husband and wife empty themselves of their own concerns and take upon themselves the concerns of each other in loving each other. Marriage is a covenant of spirit, reflecting that God and the angels who watch over you are able to work in the spirit of love to bring you both together on this blessed day. Therefore, these covenants are not to be entered into unadvisedly or lightly. These covenants are to be entered into reverently, discreetly, advisedly, and soberly. And to this institution, these two people come now to be joined together as husband
and wife. Jim, will you have this woman to be thy wedded wife? Will you be faithful to her? Will you love her? Will you comfort her? Will you honor her and keep her in times of sickness as well as health, adversity as well as prosperity, sorrow as well as joy, and forsaken all others, keep thee only to her, so long as you both shall live? Judy, will you have this man to be thy wedded husband? Will you be faithful to him? Will you love him? Will you comfort him? Will you honor him and keep him in times of sickness as well as health, adversity as well as prosperity, sorrow as well as joy, and forsaking all others, keep thee only unto him, so long as you both shall live?
I will.
These rings constitute a circle, but they symbolize the never-ending loyalty and honor that shall encompass and bind your relationship as husband and wife. They are an outward and visible sign of an individual and spiritual love. Jim, do you give this ring to Judy as a token of your love for her? Then place the ring on her finger and repeat after me. With this ring, I'll be wed.
This ring, I do that.
Where this ring is a symbol of our union today,
Where this ring is a symbol of our union today,
tomorrow, and all years to come.
tomorrow, and all years to come.
I accept you as my wife
I accept you as my wife,
and acknowledge you as my life partner,
and acknowledge you as my life partner,
my beloved and my friend.
my beloved and my friend.
Judy, do you give this ring to Jim as a token of your love for him?
Yes, I do.
Then place this ring on his finger and repeat after me. With this ring, I thee wed.
With this ring are thee wed.
Where this ring is a symbol of our union today,
Where this ring is a symbol of our union today,
tomorrow, and all years to come.
tomorrow, and all the years to come.
I accept you as my husband
I accept you as my husband,
and acknowledge you as my life partner,
and acknowledge you as my life partner,
my beloved
my beloved,
and my friend.
and my friend.
Jim, repeat after me. I, James Stephen Thomas,
I, James Stephen Thomas,
take you, Judy, to be my wedded wife,
take you, Judy, to be my wedded wife,
to have and hold from this day forward,
and to have and hold from this day forward,
for better or for worse,
for better or for worse,
in sickness and in health,
in sickness and in health,
to love and to cherish from this day forward,
to love and to cherish from this day forward,
till death do us part.
so that was part.
And thereto,
And thereto,
I pledge you my love.
I pledge you my love.
Judy, repeat after me. I, Judith Carroll Weisberg,
I, Judith Carroll Weisberg,
take you, Jim and Buddy,
take you, Jim and Buddy,
as my wedded husband,
to be my wedded husband,
to have and to hold from this day forward,
to have and to hold from this day forward,
for better or for worse,
for better or for worse,
in sickness and in health,
in sickness and in health,
to love and cherish from this day forward,
to love and cherish from this day forward,
till death do us part.
till death do us part.
And thereto, I pledge my love to you.
And thereto I pledge my love to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, while getting married on April Fool's Day may appear the folklore surrounding this day proves otherwise. As it is told, April Fool's has always marked the beginning of spring, of new beginnings and fresh starts. It is the fool who lives in life with a sense of childlike pleasures while taking risks with great abandon. It is a combination of these elements that makes an April Fool's wedding day one of hope and of good luck. In ever deepening love for one another, may you establish a true home together as husband and wife, one filled with the spirit of belief, of truth, and of love to each other. expression of your vows before this loving company now, acting in the authority vested in me as the municipal court judge of the city of Pine Lake, it is my privilege to pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Listen, Cheryl, I look at every picture of my wedding. The tears are rolling down my face, and I cut it out.
Oh. New beginnings.
I love you both. I wish you well. What else should I say?
Hope there are many years to come of happiness.
Many happy years ahead of you, and hasta huevos. They'll understand.
Buddy and Judy, we brought you all these gifts from afar. I want to wish you best wishes and good luck for our big family and a long life together. We love you, buddy. No fooling. I wish them well. And if their marriage is as beautiful as this day, they'll have a nice one.
Wish them health, happiness, long life together. Lots of health and very good health.
Wish them health and happiness and whatever they both said. And congratulations. And may they have a wonderful life together. Bye. cups have holes in them. You didn't realize that, Judy, so next time don't get the cups with the holes in it. It doesn't hold a thing. But we appreciate the thought. It's really terrific.
Judy and Jim, congratulations, and we think marriage is wonderful, and we hope that you are as happy in your marriage as Barry and I in ours. And, do you love me? Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Judy. Hi, Jim. We love you. We're so glad you finally made it legal. I still want to go on your honeymoon with you. We love you. I'll be good. You won't even notice I'm there. Why is the power tools, Jim? We do have a lot of koozies, though, in the trunk of the car. If you find you're short, just let us know. Wait, I don't have any. But I'd like some if you have any spares.
Wanted to say thank you again and give you our love and our appreciation.
And your money.
Always too short. I know that you probably expect something really goofy from me. But if they go old, and I got news for you. Listen, I really can't tell you how incredibly wonderful it feels to have so many people that Jim and I love here present tonight at such a wonderful occasion. We appreciate you traveling all the way from California, from New York, from Virginia, from Kentucky, from really from all over to be with us tonight. It's really special beyond words, and I can't thank you enough for being here. So could you please dance? We paid them a lot of money. They just got 3.5 stars in Rolling Stones, magazine. To dance. Well, we can afford to hire them. So have fun. I think the beer is now cold. We do have a corkscrew for the wine, a couple delays here. So we hope that you have a wonderful time. Please dance. Please have fun. And again, thank you so much for coming and making this such a wonderful event for everyone.
Hey, it's your sister Rhonda. I know you've asked me many times over the past few weeks if I've ever thought this occasion would ever happen. And I want you to know that really, I long suspected you'd eventually one day marry. And now you have. Mazel tov. Hi, Judy and Jim. I want to wish you as much happiness as Jeff and I have had in the past 25 years. We love you.
No, I wish Judy and Jim the very best. A good life together and happy. That's about it.
Well, I wish them all the best, and I hope that they will be as happy as we have been.
Why did you say that?
He was thinking that, Julie. He was thinking that. Ditto.
This is moving. This is moving talk.
I'm moving.
Well, hallelujah. Do you want to say a few words?
So far, I'm very happy that it's such a happy occasion. It's nice to get together for nice things. I think my daughter made a beautiful bride.
out, baby. The truth comes out. I think she's one of them.
Dear Jim and Judy, this is probably the best video you'll have all night because I'm not holding the camera. Okay, listen. Love you both very much, and I wish you both all happiness in the world forever and ever and ever. I think you guys are the greatest. Weird, but the greatest. And that's about it. And I hope this video turns out well, and you enjoy many, many years to come. Happy wedding.
I think we're gonna leave now.
Are we now?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Are there fun games in store?
Buddy.
Take the handcuffs.
She just, she
That's right.
the thing
Judy,
to throw.
Judy.
Do we have
The thing to throw.
The thing to throw.
we
What's
have
the thing
anybody?
to throw?
Cheryl's here. Rhonda's
Why don't we
here.
just give it?
All right.
Why don't we cut it in two and give it to both of them?
We love you.
Bye. Happy marriage. Have a good time. And have babies. Because, you know, mine are all grown now. Because we got 3, you have to really hurry up.
We'll be there in a minute.
file folder, fill it up with information so you can look at the information again. Now in WordPerfect, there's a special button just to save. And as a matter of fact, it has a file folder and a letter going into the folder that says Save underneath. When I point and click on Save, WordPerfect asks me for a file name. I'm going to call this letter Thank You because it's a thank you letter. When I point and click on Save, WordPerfect saves the letter and puts it inside the computer so I can use it again. If you look up at the top of the WordPerfect window, you can see where the letter has been put on my computer and the name of the file, and it says unmodified because I haven't changed it since last time I saved it. Now the first thing I like to do whenever I save something is to check the spelling. You can see there's a special button in WordPerfect too just to do this. When I point and click on Speller, WordPerfect tells me it's ready to check the spelling in my letter. When I point and click on Start, WordPerfect goes out and finds what it thinks this time, what is a first-time spelling error. It finds the name Davidson. Well, you see, in WordPerfect, there's a whole dictionary, and Davidson is somebody's name, so it's not going to be in a regular dictionary. And I have a few options. I can skip it once, skip it always, or I can add it to my dictionary. Well, if I pick skip always, anytime WordPerfect finds Davidson, it's just going to skip it, and that's the option that I want. So I point and click there, WordPerfect goes out, and it found a capital H in thank you that shouldn't be there. I can continue or replace it or disable the checking. Well, I like WordPerfect to find these type of errors in my documents. So I'm not going to check that box. I'm going to point and click on Replace to have WordPerfect fix it for me. The next error it finds is computer. Well, computer should be spelled with a C, but you probably notice that I always spell it with a K. So I can add it to my dictionary, which is the best option here, because anytime I use computer with a K, WordPerfect won't tell me that it's spelled wrong. Anytime I use WordPerfect from now on. So I'm going to point and click on Add, because I want to add that word to my dictionary. Now, forward is spelled wrong in my letter, but WordPerfect suggests that it should be spelled this way. So I'm going to point and click on Replace, and WordPerfect fixes it for me. Now, this is my first name, and that's not in the dictionary either. But I don't want WordPerfect to bother me anymore, whether I use the software program this time or any other time in the future. So I'm going to point and click on Add. I'm going to add my first name to the dictionary. Now, Commando, that's how I spell my last name, not C-O-M-M-A-N-D-O. So I'm going to add that word to my dictionary too. When it's all done, WordPerfect says, hey, you want to close the speller? Are you done? And I'm going to point and click on Yes, because I want to show you something else. Now, you're probably wondering where the top of our letter is. Well, on a computer screen, you only see 24 lines, but you get 55 lines on the page. Over here on the right-hand side of the screen are those elevator bars that we saw on tape 1 during Windows training. By pointing and clicking on the up arrow, the elevator moves up and shows me the top of my document. And now it's time to check the grammar. It's like there's an English teacher inside WordPerfect to help you out. When I point and click on Tools, I see a whole menu of different things I can do in WordPerfect. But here's the one I want now. It's called Grammatic. When I point and click there, WordPerfect starts Grammatic, and it starts checking the grammar in my letter. It finds computer spelled wrong because Grammatic will also check our spelling. Well, I know that this isn't a problem, so I can point and click on Learn Word that will add it to the Grammar Checker Dictionary too. It goes out and it tells me cannot. Well, you know, I always do that. Cannot should not be written as one word. Well, Grammatic suggests it should be put together, like it should be. So I want to replace it the way it should be and go to the next problem. So I'm going to point and click on Replace Next. It goes out, and again, my last name. I'm going to add that word to this dictionary. I'm going to ask Grammatic to learn the word by point and clicking there. When it's all done, you have to save your changes, just like we saved the letter before. Point and click on Save. Grammatic comes back to our main menu. Point and click on Exit, and I'm right back in WordPerfect. Only this time, if you look at cannot, it's spelled the way it should be, not the way that we spelt it beforehand. One of the best parts about word processing is that anything you write, you can make it look super in just a matter of seconds because the computer makes it so easy. It does a lot of the work for you. Like, do you remember when you needed to center something on a report? You used to count all the spaces and then figure it all out. Watch this. The computer will do it for you automatically. We're going to put some lines in, and we're going to center something in the beginning of the page. First, we have to move the cursor. Now, we could use the arrow keys, but I'm going to show you a shortcut. First, we move the mouse pointer to where we want the cursor, point and click the left mouse button, and this drops the cursor right where the mouse was. So we need to put in some blank lines, and I do that by pressing the Enter key, which moves the letter down one line every time I press the Enter key. Now I'm going to put the cursor back at the top of the page by moving the mouse pointer, pressing and releasing, or clicking the left mouse button one time. Now I'm going to type in what I want to center. I'm going to type Computer Tutor. Maybe I need to make my own letterhead for a while. And so now we move the cursor again to the beginning of the words or what we want to center. And I do that by moving the mouse pointer and clicking the left mouse button. Now we're going to highlight Computer Tutor by dragging the mouse over the words. And I do that by moving my mouse pointer, holding down the left mouse button, and dragging the mouse over. And this tells WordPerfect I want to do something special with the words that are highlighted. When something's highlighted, it's a different color. Now over here on the button bar, there's a special button just to center. It has an L on it right now, and that stands for left justification in a letter, or all the lines are go against the left margin, as you can even see in the picture. Point and click there, and it opens up a whole menu. I'm going to drag the mouse down to center, because that's what I want to do. Release the left mouse button, and it goes right in the center of the page automatically. Now I'm going to make Computer Tutor really stand out in this letter. I'm going to make the size bigger with the letters. And I'm sure you can figure out by now which button I'm going to push. It's the one with size on it. I point and click there, and a whole bunch of options show up. Now the bigger the number, the bigger the letters. So I'm going to pick 24 because that's a good size for this letter. Hold down the left mouse button, release it, and bingo, Computer Tutor, it's there. It's that big, and it's that easy. So now we're going to bold some text, which will make the letters stand out. I'm going to bold Computer Tutor in my letter. So I move my mouse pointer down there. We're going to highlight Computer Tutor here, and I drop the cursor by pushing and releasing or clicking the left mouse button. Now we need to highlight Computer Tutor, so you know how to do that. We have the mouse pointer there. We push the left mouse button and drag it across the words that we're going to bold. Now up on the top of the menu, there's something that's called a font. And if you don't know what a font is, it's just a typeface. It's a Courier or the Times Roman. It's just a typeface of what the characters look like. Point and click there, and it opens up a whole menu of options, but we're going to use this one called Font. And you see the bold option? I'm going to drag the mouse all the way there, and once I'm there, I'm going to release the left mouse button that will make Computer Tutor really stand out. Now there's a lot of things you can use bold for. Maybe the title of a report, your company name in letters, or maybe a movie, anything that you want to stand out in a letter. Let me show you how to underline right now. I want to underline happy computing in the last line of my letter. I drop the mouse pointer there, and I drop the cursor there by pushing and releasing the left mouse button. And there's the cursor. We're going to highlight happy computing because that's what I want to underline. So I drag the mouse over it to highlight it, and when I reach the end, I release on the left mouse button. Point and click on Font, and I see I can underline or double underline. I'm just going to pick underline for right now. Point and click there, and now happy computing, as you see, is underlined. It's that easy to make anything you write look really great. And now that we made all these changes, we're going to save the letter. And we save a letter by pointing and clicking on Save. And again, it's like a letter going into a file folder. Point and click there, and the letter has been saved. And you can tell by looking at the top in the title bar. But let's say you wanted to add more letters or more words in the middle of your letter. I just drop and point the mouse pointer there, point and click, and I can add anything I want in the middle of the letter. Maybe I can type a sentence. I can add a sentence or what have you. If you make a mistake, you can always press the backspace key. I'll just type in there are no comparisons to computers. Add a period and some spaces, and that's all there is. Now I just made a change, so you guessed it. I'm going to save the letter again, which just takes a point and a click of the mouse, and now I'm going to print it. You can probably see the print button on your screen. I probably don't even need to tell you that. As a matter of fact, it has a picture of a printer and a piece of paper. Point and click on print, and you can print anything that you do with WordPerfect as long as you have a printer connected to your computer. The most important button is down here, where it actually says print there. Point and click on print, and in just a matter of seconds, your work is coming out of the computer. And that's what a printer does. It takes the work from your computer and puts it on paper. And it's that easy to type a letter and print. You never have to use a typewriter again after using word processing. And here comes my letter now. You can see that it just looks wonderful. Look how great this letter looks. And so I want you to take a look at this letter that I just did in just a matter of minutes, and a handwritten letter that maybe some people are still sending. And you can tell the difference right away. So the question is, which letter would you rather sign your name to? I bet you it's this one that you did with word processing. Have you ever needed to send one letter to a bunch of people? Maybe you're in business and you want to send a letter to all your customers announcing a new sale or maybe a new marketing representative in your company. If you're in business, it's proper etiquette to send a thank you letter to everybody that went to a meeting or seminar. And in your personal life, a thank you letter to everybody that went to a party is always a good idea. Well, there's a special feature in WordPerfect 5.2 for Windows. It's called a mail merge, and it makes sending one letter personalized to a bunch of people a piece of cake. What you have is one letter that's generic, and then you have a list of names and addresses, and with a merge, you combine the two so each letter is personalized without retyping every letter separately. I'm going to show you how to do it right now with WordPerfect 5.2. Now in WordPerfect 5.2, you have a button bar. When you buy the program and when you start the program, it's there automatically. It's called the default button bar. Now you can change the button bar by first pressing the right mouse button. When you do that, a whole menu opens up with all different kinds of button bars. You can change it, and I'm going to change it to the merge button bar just by pointing and clicking on the merge button bar. And when I do that, I get a whole new set of buttons. And you can change it back. All you have to do is point on the button bar, press the right mouse button, point and click again on the WP on the bottom. That's the default button bar. And you're right back where you started with all the buttons you've already known. But we're going to use the merge button bar, so I'm going to open it up again by pointing and clicking the right mouse button. Point and click on the merge button bar, and we get all the buttons that we need to do a mail merge. They're right there in front of us. So the place to start is with the items that we need to personalize. Any item that we need to personalize in a letter is called a field. They could have called it an item, but it's called a field. So here we are at the cursor that marks the first field that we're going to be personalizing in our letter. Point and click on field, and it asks me to enter a field name or number. I'm just going to use numbers because it kind of makes it easier. The number 1 for the first field in our letter. Point and click on OK, and you see that field 1 appears on the screen. Press the delete key to erase the characters to the right, because we don't want those characters in every letter. The second field will be the address, so I move the cursor there by moving the mouse pointer and pushing and releasing the left mouse button one time or clicking. We add a field by pointing and clicking on field. We add a name or number, but I'm going to stick with numbers. The number 2 for the second field. Point and click on OK, and field 2 appears right on the screen. Press the delete key and it erases all the characters. Now you're probably going to guess what we're going to do now. We're going to put in the third field. First we move the cursor there with the mouse by clicking the left mouse button after the mouse pointer's there. Point and click on field. We have the number 3 because it's our third field. Point and click on OK, and we have field 3 right on the screen. Delete, delete, delete all the characters you don't want. Now the next field we need to personalize, it's in the salutation. We need to say dear first name. We don't want dear Mr. or Mrs. Davidson on all our letters. So we move the mouse pointer up to field. It's our fourth field, number 4. Point and click on OK, and I have dear field 4, but we're going to personalize that. Erase all the characters you don't need by pressing the delete key. Now we need to save this letter with all the merge codes inside. So if I point and click on File, you know from watching the Windows tape that there's an option to save. So I point and click on Save, and it saves the letter with all my merge codes inside. You know, I'd like to give you a little tip about saving. Number one, you can really never do it often enough. And number two, when you're naming those files, make sure they mean something. Make sure they're descriptive so you can tell what's inside just by looking at them. Now it's time to put those names that we're going to be merging with this letter. And to do that, we point to File, point to New, because we need to set up a new page in our using WordPerfect. And here we're going to be putting the names and addresses. The name of the first person I want to send my letter to is Mr. Frank Ford. Remember, this is field 1 in our letter, so we need to end the field by pointing and clicking on End Field. This tells WordPerfect that that's all the information that's needed for field 1. So now I put in Frank's address, 1234 Central Avenue, and now we're going to point and click on End Field again. We're at the third field, and you can tell by looking at the bottom of your screen where it says Field 3 that this is the information we're going to be typing now. And here we have Frank's city, which is Los Angeles. Make a mistake, all you have to do is press the backspace key. Los Angeles, California, and now his zip code. We're going to end the field by pointing and clicking, now you know, on End Field. And now we have our fourth field, which you may remember in our letter is the first name of the person getting the letter, or Frank. We're going to end the field here by pointing and clicking on End Field. And now this isn't the end of a record, and a record in WordPerfect is all the information that it needs to personalize one letter, all the information that is needed in each field. I'm going to point and click on End Record, and I'm ready to start putting the information in for the second person that will be getting the letter. The second person on my list is Miss Carol Smith. Now, just like we did before, we need to end the field. So we point and click on End Field. Now we have Carol's address, which is P.O. Box 322. We end the field, you probably guessed that though, by pointing and clicking. And now we're in the city that Carol lives in, which is Plainfield, New Jersey, and Carol's zip code. We're going to end the field, but you probably knew that, pointing and clicking. And now we need to put, you got it, the first name, Carol. Point and click on End Field, and we need to end the record by pointing and clicking on End Record. Now, I could enter in as many names as I wanted, but I think you got the gist of it. You type in the information as relates to the fields, End Field, end the record, and there you go. These are the names that we're going to be putting in our letter. So now I need to save this. So I point and click on File, point and click on Save, and again it asks me for a file name. I'm going to call this Names because these are names that are going to go in my thank you letter. So I point and click on Save, and you can see I have names at the top of the screen. Now I'm going to close this file by pointing, clicking on File, and dragging it down to Close. And here's my letter. And so now I'm ready to do the mail merge. But first, I have to close this letter here too. So I point and click on File, point and click on Close, and I'm ready to do my mail merge. There's a special button on the button bar, and I bet you know which one it is. It's this one that says Merge. As a matter of fact, it has two pictures that are kind of joined together. In this way, we are combining the contents of one letter with the information in a second document. When I point and click there, it asks me for the primary file name, which I know is Thank You. Now, the primary file name is always the letter, so I'll type in Thank You. Now, the secondary file name is the names, and I go there, I move the cursor by dropping the cursor there with the mouse pointer and then clicking the left mouse button. I type in the secondary file name, which is Names. Point and click on OK, and WordPerfect did the mail merge. It was that easy. And if you look on the bottom of your screen, it says Page 2. Watch what's on Page 1, and I get there by pressing the Page Up key, or I can always scroll, but but I'm just going to hit the page up key. When I do that, it keeps taking me up all the way to the top of the document. So you can see Frank has the same letter. It's that easy. Letters can be personalized. You can merge as much information as you want. You can print out the letters. You can save them. It's that easy to create personalized letters for anybody that you want to send a letter to. Now, when you save a file or document with WordPerfect, you know it goes into the computer's filing cabinet. So you need to open the filing cabinet in order to use or change that file again. As a matter of fact, if you look at the button bar on WordPerfect 5.2, it even has an open file folder. When I point and click there, all the files in my WP-Win directory appear, and to pick one, all I have to do is use the mouse, or I could type in the file name. I want to find the file called Thank You, so I point and click on the down arrow until it appears. Once it's there, I point and click on the file to highlight the file to say that's the one that I want to get. Point and click on Open, and the file appears on the screen, just like that. And when you're all done with WordPerfect and when you've saved all your documents and you're ready to quit for the day, all you have to do, and you probably know this from watching the Windows training, is point on File, point and click on Exit, and there we are. We're back in the safety of Windows. And you just learned WordPerfect 5.2 for Windows. Congratulations. I mean, it is so easy. You can spell check your documents. You'll never send out a letter with bad grammar again. And I just want to say congratulations. You did it. Now you're going to learn the easy and quick way to use Microsoft Word for Windows. You may hear it called WinWord or just Word. It's still the same. It's Microsoft's Word for Windows. It's a word processing program that's good for typing a short note, a long document, a report, or maybe even a best-selling novel. With the program, you can check your grammar, check your spelling, and do other things that you'll see soon. What we're going to do is we're going to take a handwritten letter that maybe you're still sending out, and we're going to put it in Microsoft Word and make it look 100% better. And you'll see this in just a moment. Now, Microsoft Word, you need to be in Windows to use the program. And if it's been a while since you reviewed the Windows section on tape 1, now's a good time to do it because we use the mouse, we use Windows, and if you know Windows, it will make learning Microsoft Word a snap. So let's use Microsoft Word now. Now, the icon that starts Microsoft Word looks like a piece of paper and a big W just flew off the page. It says Microsoft Word underneath. To start the program, to use the program, I point to it and I double click. You see the hourglass that tells me the program is getting ready for me to use it. Now, the top two lines look like most Windows programs. Here we have a toolbar, and these are shortcuts. Each picture or icon is a different feature of Microsoft Windows. This is a ribbon or a ruler that you may be familiar with on a typewriter. The white space on the page is like a blank piece of paper. It's a little smaller than a piece of paper. On a computer screen, you can only see 24 lines. On a piece of paper, you get up to 55 lines or more on the page. The blinking line is called the cursor. It marks where whatever we type will appear on the page. I want you to watch the cursor as it moves as I type. So let's type that letter. We start at the top with the address, or December 24th, and you type just as if it were a typewriter. When you reach the end of a line, you need to press Enter. To get some blank lines, you press Enter. And now I'm ready to type the person's address who will be receiving the letter. First their name, and if you make a mistake, all you have to do is press the backspace key. Press the backspace key and it erases one character to the left. Press Enter and I'm ready to type in their address, which is 120 Oxford Street. Take a look at the way the 0 is more oval than the letter O. That's an easy way to tell which letter you typed. The city, which is Phoenix, the state, Arizona, and now we're ready for the zip code. Type Enter, and now we need to get a few blank lines, so you know what to do. We press Enter. And now we're ready for the salutation. And I type in Dear Mr. and Mrs. Davidson, just as if I were using a typewriter. It's that easy. And now we need to go to the next line, so you know what to do. We press the Enter key. Press the Enter, and I want you to take a look, though, at the first line in the body of the letter. It's indented a little bit. Well, there's the old-fashioned way, and there's an easy way to do it. But first, I'll show you the old-fashioned way. With a typewriter, we used to press the space bar 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to indent a paragraph. Now I'm going to show you the easy way, but first we have to backspace to the margin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now on our computer keyboard, there's a tab key. When we press the tab key, it indents the paragraph automatically. So I press the tab key, the cursor moves over, and now I'm ready to finish typing my letter. And you have to excuse me for just a moment, because I'm going to finish typing this letter. And when we get back, we're going to do some really neat things. And now that I'm all done typing that letter, and I have some time invested in it, it's time to save the file. If I were to turn off the computer right now, the letter would be gone the next time I turned on the computer. I need to save the file, so this way I can use it, I can change it again. When you save something, you put it inside the computer's filing cabinet, just like a regular office filing cabinet. When you open the drawer, put in the file folders, put in the information so you can look at it again. Now in Microsoft Word, there's a special icon just to save. Come here, we'll do it right now. It's up here on the top. As a matter of fact, it has a diskette on it. When I point and click on it, Microsoft Word asks me to name the file. I'll call this Thank You because it's a thank you letter. Point and click on OK, and Microsoft Word will ask me if I want more information about that file. It makes it easier when you want to know what's inside a file without actually opening it up. I don't want to enter in anything now, so I'm going to point and click on OK, and the file has been saved. You can tell by looking at the window up above where it says Microsoft Word. Here's the name of the file and the DOC extension. Microsoft Word gives every letter written with it the DOC extension. So this way you know by looking at the file names that you wrote that letter with Microsoft Word. The next thing I like to do with anything I send out or anything I write is to check the spelling. Well, you probably guessed that Microsoft Word has a button for this too, and this one's easy to find. It has a check mark with ABC on it. It's a spell checker. To spell check your document, point and click on the button, and Microsoft Word will go through and find every word spelled wrong. If you take a look at Davidson, that's somebody's name. It's not spelled wrong. Well, inside Microsoft Word, there's an entire dictionary. And you wouldn't find the word Davidson in a regular dictionary because it's somebody's name. So that's why Microsoft Word found it as maybe a word spelled incorrectly. I'm going to choose Ignore All. Ignore means just this time just this time that you picked up the word, it's okay. Ignore All means I don't want you to bother me again. That's the way Davidson spelled, so leave me alone. I point and click on Ignore All, and then Microsoft Word finds the next incorrectly spelled word. Thank you. Well, it has highlighted the correct version, or what the correct word should be, which is thank with a little h. Point and click on Change, and Microsoft Word has changed the word for me. I can tell by looking at the sentence it's how much you learned, not how much you Leonard or how much you leaned, so I need to use the word learned. I point and click on Learned, point and click on Change, and that's how easy it is. Well, next it picks up computer. Well, really, in the dictionary, computer is spelled with a C, but I like to spell it with a K. So there's a special button for this one. It's called the Add button. And what I can do is add certain words to my dictionary, to the Microsoft dictionary, so whenever I'm using the program, Microsoft Word won't bother me. I point and click on Add because I want computer with a K in my dictionary. Forward, I look forward. Well, there's not 2 A's in forward, but Microsoft Word found what it should be. So I point and click on Change, and Microsoft Word changes it for me. Well, commando, that's how I spell my last name. I don't spell it like Microsoft Word thinks, I mean, like in the movies. So I'm going to add this word to my dictionary too. Point and click on add, and whenever Microsoft Word finds commando, it's not going to bother me from here on out. Well, the spell check is complete, so I point and click on OK. Let's say you wanted to add a sentence in the middle of your letter. You know, it used to be you had to retype the whole thing. Well, I'm going to add a sentence in the middle of my letter. I drop the cursor here by moving the mouse pointer, clicking the left mouse button. I'm going to add a sentence. Maybe tell a friend. It's that easy. You don't have to retype anything. Microsoft Word figures it all out for you. And you may have noticed I made an error, but I'm going to show you how to fix that too. We're going to move the cursor to the top of the page, and now we're going to let Microsoft Word fix that error for me because we're going to have it check the grammar in my letter. So I point and click on Tools, and I see that there's a grammar option. Point and click on Grammar, and Microsoft's Word will go through and again check my spelling, but more importantly, my grammar too. I'm going to ignore Davidson, but I'm going to ignore it all the time by pointing and clicking there. And now tell of friends. Well, look what it says. Consider friend instead of friends. I mean, the computer's almost like an English teacher inside. By pointing and clicking on change, it will change friends to friend. Point and click, and you can see how easy it is. These are certain statistics that people sometimes want to know about their documents. Over here, this one's always kind of interesting. What grade level you're writing on, or almost the 7th grade level. Point and click on OK, and we're right back where we started, except we have our spelling checked, our grammar checked, and we added a sentence. So now it's time to save the file once more because we just made a whole bunch of changes. So I point and click on that diskette again to save it, and it has been saved. And you don't need to replace or put in a new file name because Microsoft remembered the name from the last time I did it. It's that easy. One of the best parts about using a word processing program is how great your work looks afterwards. Do you remember when we used to have to center a title of a report? We'd count all the spaces and figure it all out, and then maybe we got it right. Well, with Microsoft Word and with word processing programs, all I have to do is click a mouse button. It's that easy. Come on now, and I'm going to show you how. First, we have the cursor at the top of the document. I need to push the letter down by inserting some lines, and I do that, you know, by pressing the Enter key. I'm going to push the letter down a little bit to make room for Computer Tutor in the center. I move the cursor up. I'll do it this time because it's easier with the arrow keys. I type in what I want to center, which are the words Computer Tutor. And once it's all done, once I'm done typing the words, I need to highlight it. And we've done that before. We put the mouse pointer at the beginning of the words that we want to highlight, click the left mouse button to drop the cursor there. And now while holding the left mouse button, I slide across and I drag the mouse all the way across the words. When I'm at the end, I release the left mouse button. It's highlighted now, so Microsoft Word knows that we're going to be doing something different with it. Over here on our toolbar, we see that some words are over to the left, some are center, some are right, and some are fully justified, or what's called fully justified on both sides. Well, which one do you think we want? It's the button that's centered, you know that. So I point and click there, and it's right there. I didn't even have to count any spaces. Well, let's make Computer Tutor really big by pointing and clicking on this button with the number on it. This is the point size of the text that is on the screen. I point and click there, and how about if we pick 22? That should be a good size. So I point and click there, and now Computer Tutor, it really stands out. Let's say you wanted to bold something. We use bolding a lot when we want to show something special in a letter, or we want to draw attention to something. I want to bold Computer Tutor down here in my letter, so I move the cursor down there by pointing and clicking. Hold down the left mouse button, and drag across to highlight Computer Tutor or whatever you want to bold. Release the left mouse button, and now it's highlighted, again telling Word that I want to do something different with it. Point and click on the B for bold, and watch this. That's it. That's all it took to make Computer Tutor bold. You can see how it's a little different. Well, I want to underline something in the last sentence of my letter. Now to do that, I can't see it. So I'm going to point and click on the down arrow. Here comes down that elevator, and soon the bottom of my letter will appear. It's right there, and you can see the elevator moving. I'm going to underline Happy Computing. We do it the same way, so you probably could tell me how to do it. I'm going to put the cursor there by pointing and clicking with the mouse. Hold down the left mouse button to highlight it. When I reach the end, you guessed it, I release on the left mouse button. Now see this U right here? That stands for underline. There's even a line underneath the U. I point and click there, and here I'll show you by moving the highlight, and you can see that Happy Computing, it's underlined. So now we just made all these changes, so we better save the file again. So how did we save last time? It was that diskette up there. So I point and click on that, and the file has been saved again. So let's print out our letter. I want to show you how great it really looks. Now I bet you know that there's a button for this somewhere on the toolbar. It's this one with the printer and the piece of paper coming out of it. I mean, it's kind of hard to miss that one. Point and click on the printer, and soon my letter will be coming out of the document, and it's so much easier than using a typewriter. And I'm going to show you, it looks better than almost any typewriter could do any good day of the week. And it just takes us just a second for my letter to come out, and as it does, you'll see how great it looks, and everything that we centered, everything that we bold and underlined, it's all there. And I'm going to show you that handwritten letter again, just to prove to you what a big difference it makes knowing how to just type a letter using Microsoft Word. How long do you think it would take you to send a personalized letter to 20 people, 50 people, 100 people? What if I told you you could do it in a few minutes using Mail Merge, a feature in Microsoft Word? With Mail Merge, you could send a personalized letter to all your customers, telling them about a great sale. You could send a letter to all your business associates, thanking them for attending a seminar. And it's all done with Mail Merge. And what it is we take one letter, a generic letter, and we take a list of names and addresses, and we combine the two to personalize each letter. It's almost like ramps on a highway that lead right into the freeway. They combine the two. So come on, I'm going to teach you how to do a mail merge in just a matter of minutes. First, we start off with the generic letter that we're going to be using in the mail merge. We move our mouse pointer to File. We point and click to open the menu. And we move our mouse pointer, we drag it all the way down to Print Merge. When there, I release the left mouse button, and as you can see, here's a picture of what I was explaining. Our names and addresses, this is our letter, and together we have all these personalized letters. We need to attach a data file, and a data file, it's just a technical word for all the names and addresses. I point and click there, and it says, do you have an existing data file that I could type in here, or do you want to create a new file of names and addresses? Which that's what we're going to do right now. So I'm going to point and click on Create a Data File. And here we have something that's called field names. Well, really all a field name is are those items in a letter that we're going to be personalizing. The first one is the first part of somebody's address, or their name, Mr. and Mrs., or what have you. So I'll call this field Name. When we're done, we point and click on Add, because we're going to add that as a data file. The next field name we need is the person's address, so I'll call this Address. I point and click on Add, and you can see it's also been added to our fields. The third thing we need to create in our data file is the second part of somebody's address, their city, state, and zip code, and I'll call this field Address 2. point and click on Add, and there we go. Now the fourth thing we need to create a data file for is the person's first name that would appear here in a personalized letter. And I'll call that field First Name. Now you may be wondering why there isn't a space there in between first and name. Well, you can't have them in field names, so that's why. I'll point and click on Add, and we're all done, so I'll point and click on OK. We can save this field as a name, as a file name. So I'll just call this Names. Point and click on OK, and here we are. We're all ready to enter in the people that will be receiving the information, as well as all their addresses and their first name that we're going to use to personalize those letters. I'm going to start off with the person first on my list, who's Mr. Frank Ford. And you just type in the person's address, and now we need to move and type in their address over here. So how are we going to do it? Well, I'm sure you figured out that we could always use the mouse pointer because it's used a lot in Windows. A shortcut is, though, to just press the Tab key, and it brings us right to the next window there. I'll type in his address, which is 1234 Central Avenue. And if you ever make a mistake here, the backspace works too. Tab over to the next part of his address so I can put in the city, the state, made a mistake, their state, and the zip code. And you don't have to worry about fitting it all in the box. See, Microsoft Word does it for you automatically. And now we need to put in the first name, or Frank. Now we need to add another name to our data file. So I do that by pressing the Tab key. It brings me down to a new line, and I'll type in Miss Carol Smith, because she's the second person who will be receiving our letter. Carol's address is P.O. Box, made a mistake, P.O. Box, it's easy to make mistakes when you're typing, 321, and now we need to tab over again and put in Carol's address, which is Plainfield, New Jersey. We put in Carol's zip code, and now we need Carol's first name. And so we type in Carol. And now we're all done, so we need to save this. Now I could keep going and enter in, well, as many names and addresses as my computer can fit. But I want to show you how it really works. So let's save this. And you know how we save. We point and click on the disk. And it's all been saved. Now here Word is asking me if I want to give the file name some more information that I can look at later. But I'm not going to do that. So I can just point and click on OK. Now see this big M there? That stands for merge. So after you put in all your names and addresses, just click that button. Just point to it and click. And then we have a whole new button bar here just to do the mail merge. So what we have to do is insert a merge field. Now remember those fields, those are the parts of the letter that will be personalized. So to insert a field, I point and click there. It asks me which one. Well, I want to put the name there, so I point and click. So now we need to delete Mr. and Mrs. Davidson, because we don't want that on our personalized letters. That wouldn't look good. So I'm going to erase it. So now we need to move the cursor down. So I'm just going to use the arrow keys because it's easier right now. So this merged field, you probably remember, was just called address. So we need to put that there, and I do that by pointing and clicking to insert merged field. Here it is, address. I'll point and click on that, point and click on OK, and there's my merged field. See, Microsoft Word is going to take the names by the fields and personalize the letters. So now we need to put in the second part of the address. So I point and click on Insert Merged Field, this address too, because that's the city, state, and zip code. Point and click on OK, and there it is on the screen. And I'm pressing the Delete key to erase the characters to the right. Well, the next part we need to personalize is their first name, because we want them to think that we really spent a lot of time on the letters. So I'll point and click on Insert Merged Field, their first name, point and click on OK, and you see, Dear First Name. Erase the characters to the right and by pressing the Delete key, and we're almost ready. But first, let's make sure that the merge is going to work. Microsoft Word will check it for me. See this check mark? Point and click on that, And Microsoft Word will say, hey, you have all the information you need and nothing's wrong, so the mail merge will work. If you look at these two buttons, something's different. The two letters are being combined like our letter and our names list, but there's something different on the other side. This stands for a file, and this stands for a printer. I can put all the personalized letters into one big file, or I can just print them out on my printer. I'm going to put them in a file right now, so I'm going to point and click on the one that has the file. And there you go. There's our first letter. So if you want to see Carol's letter, it looks the same, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. I'm going to press the page down key, and there it is, to Miss Carol Smith. It's that easy. And I can also move up the cursor just to show you that Computer Tutor's on the top of every letter too. It's that easy to create letters that are personalized. It's called a mail merge, and now you can do it too. Now there's just a few more things you need to know about Microsoft Word. Let's say you're working on a letter and you want to start a new letter. You want a blank screen to start with. Well, here I'll show you how to do it. And you probably guessed that there's a button for this too. It's right up here. It looks like a blank piece of paper. I have a letter on my screen now, but when I point and click to the blank piece of paper, I get a whole fresh screen and I can type a new letter. And Microsoft Word tells me by putting the number 2 after the document. But let's say you want to get a file that's in your computer. It's in the filing cabinet. Well, if you look up here, there's an open file folder. And I bet you know that by pressing that, by clicking with the left mouse button, I have all the files in my computer I can use. I can type the name here, or I can just select it by moving the mouse pointer and clicking the left mouse button. I'll highlight Thank You Letter because that's the letter we typed earlier. I'll point and click on OK to get the letter, and there it is on my screen. So when you're all done with Microsoft Word and you've saved all your files and you're ready to quit, well, you probably know the way to do it because I showed you in Windows. You point and click on File, you point and click on Exit, and you're right back to Windows because that's the way that most Windows programs work. And so now you've just learned Microsoft Word. Well, congratulations. And why would you ever use a typewriter now that you can use a word processing software program? Why would you ever send a handwritten letter again? It's so much easier with a computer, and your work, it looks so much better.